Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing well. Ten Hag's forgotten men. We'll also be talking about a really surprising statement that's come out from Tyrell Malacia on Dutch duty, as well as some interesting stuff on Dalot as well. I'm now wondering why... Yes, we are live. You know, sometimes it does delay a little bit and you think, oh, am I live? And oh, I am live. We're live a little bit early tonight because... it's a 7 p.m. start because we are doing the England game at 7:45 where Maguire's playing again and Southgate's playing a back five. I tell you what, watch the watch along tonight. I'm going to tear him apart, especially having managed at the weekend. I'm going to tear him apart if we play shit tonight. There's no excuse for it at all. But lots to get into tonight. I've also got this little clip to play you. You're going to laugh at this.
And if we need any tactics, hit up that man right there.
You know who he is?
Yeah.
You know he's the manager? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show you the rest of that in a bit. You might have seen it on Twitter, but a little bit of an exclusive thing that Nico sent us that we could use. We'll show you that in a little bit. No green screen tonight. No green screen tonight. To be honest with you, it's why I'm a little bit late. I broke it. So I've got no green screen. So I'm in what I call my Talk Sport background, which is basically just a plain back wall. Before we get into everything tonight, though, I am wearing some of my Boohoo Man clobber, as you can see, Boohoo Man Active, which means you're going to get a trivia quiz in a moment. But you can get 40% off through Boohoo Man, exclusively for United Stand members, 40% off. Links in video description, as well as scanning the QR codes. Use the code GOLDBRIDGE for that. But Boohoo Man have got everything you need at very good prices, and you can get that 40% off with United Stand exclusively as well. Tracksuits, five-a-side gear, gym gear, chill out gear, loads of stuff, waterproofs, the lot. Check them out. Fantastic stuff you can get from Boohoo Man Active range as well. But because they are sponsoring the show, it means you get a bit of trivia as per usual from Boohoo Man. They love interacting with you, the audience. And this week, we're seeing if you guys can guess which United person. I'm not even going to give you the clue that's been given. I'm going to say Man United person are actively talking about from the low clues. Okay. I'm not going to... There's too much of a hint there if I say United something. So United person, okay? I was born on the 26th of May, 1909. I played 204 games for Man City and 115 for Liverpool. During my playing career, I won the FA Cup with Man City. I joined Manchester United manager for the first time on the 1st of October, 1945. For United, I won 5 league titles, 2 FA Cups and 1 European Cup. I left Manchester United after my second spell in management on the 8th of June 1971 after managing a combined 1,141 games. I was knighted in 1972. Who am I? And I tell you what, if you're in the chat and you don't know this, yeah, Logan's got it. Well, he got it wrong, actually. He said Matt Busby. Of course it is Sir Matt Busby, which most of you have got in the chat. They wanted me to say which Man United manager. That's why I said person, because it gets those brains moving a little bit. So well done if you got that right. As always, Boohoo Man have given you, the United Stand viewers, an exclusive 40% discount by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description. You could wear something like this, which, tell you what, I like my hoodies, as you know, and as the weather gets a little bit cooler, it's nice and comfy, and it's got the old red and black, which I think is a little bit like United. So there you go. You can check out my hoodie. You can get 140% off through the link in the description. Scan the QR code. A lot of people saying show us the rest of the speed clip. I will do. It was a little bit of banter. I didn't start it. But, you know, that dressing room banter, if anyone's been in a dressing room playing football, whether it's Sunday morning football or Premier League football, you know there's a lot of banter in there. And we had a bit of banter with speed, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's get into the show. Lots to talk about. Ten Hag's forgotten men. Want to talk about this story coming in that Galatasaray might be interested in Lindelof. I don't necessarily think that it's true. Someone messaged me about it. But I do think that Lindelof, if you listen to how Lindelof's agent talks, Lindelof has been skirting around the issue of leaving United in the past. He cannot and will not want to sit on the bench for the rest of this season as fourth choice centre-back, which is where he's at the moment. I think Fred is in a similar situation, and you may have some other suggestions as well. And with Maguire, we'll talk about him in a minute, starting for England again tonight. Basically, he's getting game time. Southgate's picking him in all the games because he knows he's not going to play much for the next month. So he's trying to get him fit for the World Cup a month in advance, which I think is hilarious. You know, Maguire playing both games for England because he can't get game time for Man United. That's what Southgate's got to do, and his boring shit, crap football. But I'm letting the truth out there. I'm going to lose it on the watch-along later if we play shit. Don't worry about that. England against Germany on That's Football watch-along. But I want to talk about this very interestingly, and I want to get this quote absolutely right, because some of you may not have missed, you might not have seen this today. So Malacia, loads of United players have been talking over the international break, as we know. Sorry, I've got an international nose. I have got an international nose bridge. No, I've got an itchy nose. But very interesting quote from Cyril Malacia. He says, "I'm very comfortable with Manchester United at the moment. The national coach thinks that I should also be able to play in the centre of defence, but I feel best on the left." That was via Telegraph from Malacia. So basically what he's saying is that Louis van Gaal thinks he should be able to play left centre back as well as left back. Now I don't know whether he thinks that he's going to play him as a left centre back. I mean, I don't see why he'd do it when he's got people. Oh God, my nose is really itchy. I'm gonna have to stick my nose up there. I don't know what it is. But yeah, he left centre back for Cyril Malacia. So I don't get that, and I agree with Malacia that his best position is left back. I mean, I don't know what Van Gaal's thinking about there. I really don't know what he's thinking about there. But Ty can't believe we've got no background. Sometimes getting rid of the green screen's actually a quite nice thing to do. I'd like to say it was done on purpose, but I've broken it, so I haven't got it for tonight. I'll have one in the morning, but I've got to go out and get one in the morning. But I quite like it. I can stretch my arms out and know that it's not going to get cut off by the green screen. I can move my chair along here and go, wow, look, I'm on this shit. Don't do that. Oh, look at me. I'm not going to go off the green screen or knock it or make it look out of proportion. Yeah, yabba dabba doo. But no, I'm messing around now. So yeah, I don't agree with. I agree with Malacia. Like, what's this left centre back talk? I mean, I thought I'd throw it in there because it's come from a United player talking about Louis van Gaal. Yeah, I don't know what crazy idea Van Gaal's got there, unless he's going to use him as a left-sided of three centre backs, but. Yeah, we don't want none of that crazy talk at Man United. He's our left back. And funnily enough, Luke Shaw's starting for England tonight as well. So, the international break, I mean, I don't know what you think about that left-sided centre-back stuff, but the international break has been very kind to Manchester United so far. Like, I think the worst thing we've got is a black eye for Ronaldo because he banged his nose. Maguire's played 180 minutes after tonight. Luke Shaw's getting 90 minutes against Germany. Malacia, Eriksen and Varane are back and fine. McTominay's back and fine. I know we've got Fred and Martinez and Ronaldo tomorrow night, but in the main, people are getting game time, sharpness, Casemiro as well. So yeah, at the moment it's gone really, really well for England, for Manchester United. So yeah, it's good. Also, just before we talk about the forgotten men, Dalot, I don't know whether you saw what Romano said today. We'd figured this one out anyway, but he has got the option of another year. His contract is coming towards the end, but we've got the option of another year. There was a bit of doubt about that, but we have got the option of another year. And as revealed by me last week, I said this, if you check when he signed his contract, they actually announced it on the Man United website that there was an option for a year, but some people think he didn't. But Romano's confirmed that again today. He's also gone on to say that Dalot was identified as a very important player by Ten Hag in the summer, and there was a lot of interest from clubs for Dalot in the summer that was knocked back flatly by Ten Hag. So Ten Hag obviously saw something in Dalot very, very early, and that has been developed. But the interesting thing about Dalot is, I want to take it to another level here. Have we got a future Man United captain there? Now, I can hear the laughs, but seriously, have we got a future Man United captain in Diego Dalot? I'm just going to drop that there because I look at that Manchester United side, Gary. It's about the structure, yeah. It's about the structure, but it's about the leadership as well. It's about the players. And I look at Dalot, and I just don't know. But I think he'll be a captain of Manchester United's future. I do. I think he could be a captain of Manchester United's future. Yeah, I do. But no, I also think, as well as that rubbish Carragher impression, that I was on the bus with Harry Pinero on Saturday, and I believe he did the interview with Dalot. And I said to Harry, what a line. What a line. That line where he said, we want to be the players that are remembered as the players that got United back. Because somebody is going to be a United player who gets them players back. And you contrast his interviews with some of the, the ones that get on our nerves. And he does speak really, really well. He's playing very, very maturely. And I just think he potentially has got some leadership qualities in him. And, who else? Ronaldo's going to go soon. Bruno's doing a decent job. But, Dalot, I'm not saying now, but if he's still at the club in 3 years' time, that United team's going to look very different in 3 years' time. Fred's 29. I think Ronaldo's obviously 37. Varane and Maguire are 29. It'll be a different team. It'll be a different team in 3 years' time, and Dalot could be pivotal to that. So, just one just to think about. Ultimately, I just want him to keep getting better and better as right back first. Lou Van Gaal wanted Malacia to cover for De Bruyne in that game because Daley Blind was too slow for that, says Vincent. Interesting, yes, interesting. Dalot is British as well, says Stephen. Yeah, he's not anymore. We've changed that. But IQ says, I still think Dalot is inconsistent. Look, I'm not running away on anything. You can't say that I'm not that impressed with McTominay. I still think he's average just because he's had a few games, but then say Dalot's going to be a brilliant right back just because he's had a few good games. I think that everybody, there's always one word with United, and we've used it on the United stand for very, very, very many years: inconsistency. Consistency is what we need. If we get smacked up by Man City 4 or 5-0 on Sunday, everything we've done in the last few games will be forgotten. This was my problem with the whole Arsenal thing anyway. The last Premier League game we played is like 3 weeks ago, isn't it? 3 and a bit weeks ago. So by the time we play City, it's 4 weeks. Those 4 Premier League games we won in a row will be forgotten because they have been forgotten because it was so long ago. If we lose to Man City, it will be really forgotten. So consistency will be out the window again. We've got to focus on the consistency, definitely. But talking about forgotten things, the title of the show is Ten Hag's Forgotten Men. No Way Back is on the thumbnail. And I specifically just... I don't want to talk about Maguire tonight. I don't want to talk about Luke Shaw. They're playing for England tonight. I hope they have a good game. And I think with Luke Shaw, he could conceivably get his place back if he started playing as well as he did 18 months ago. Maguire is the third choice centre-back. If Varane gets injured or Martinez gets injured, he will come into the team. But what of Victor Lindelof? And also into the midfield. McTominay's fighting with Casemiro. Eriksen's got that place on lockdown. Where's the way back for Fred, who has 1 year plus an option left on his contract, cost us 50 million quid? Do you give Fred a new contract at 29 when he's nowhere near the first team at the moment? I mean, he's basically a bench player. Do you keep a player like that or do you let them go? So I think Lindelof and Fred are very, very interesting. Obviously, people will say, well, we need to sell Maguire, we need to sell Shaw, we need to change the goalkeeper. I mean, those conversations are going to stay consistent. But I want to talk about the players that really are. Where's their next game coming from? And is it just sympathy points? I think from Ten Hag's point of view, you want to keep the likes of Lindelof. You want to keep the likes of Fred because they're brilliant squad players. I would love Lindelof to sign another contract. I'd be happy for Fred to sign a new contract as long as they understood that you really are sitting on the bench 90% of the time. You're hardly ever going to start games. I'd need to have 2 or 3 players out to start you, but I do want to use you for the Carabao Cup, the Europa League early rounds, and last 20 minutes to come on and do a job for me. But I don't know whether either of those 2 players would go, yeah, I'm happy to be a bit part player. Because, the John O'Shea's of this world, the Wes Browns, the Darren Fletchers at the start, and he ended up being a first-team player, to be honest. Those sort of players are worth their weight in gold. They really are, because they are happy to sit on the bench at United and be part of a team. And I'd like Lindelof and Fred to do that, but it's whether they will do that and whether they'll start to figure out what we're maybe figuring out is that a manager will always say, the places are up for grabs. You can get a place if you want a place in this team, but I don't necessarily think that is the case. I don't see a way back into that team for Fred in the midfield unless we get 2 or 3 injuries, and I don't see a place back for Lindelof unless we get 2 or 3 injuries at centre back. So, will those players move in the summer? Will those players get any game time this year? It's going to be very interesting to see because I'm probably like Ten Hag and you. I would like to keep those players because when I look at Arsenal, Arteta's built a first 11 and now he's building a squad. United, we're trying to build a first 11 and then we'll have to build a squad. But actually, we've already got some good squad players. If we don't lose them, our job will be quicker if we build the first 11 and then you've got the squad players as well. So I think Lindelof and Fred are very interesting. I don't see a way back in. As I say, Maguire, Shaw, there may be some others that people would sell. I think they've still got a chance of getting back in the first team, to be honest. And then you've got your Wan-Bissakas, your Brandon Williams, your Twan Sebis, who I mean, they may end up getting a chance at United, but I think they would have been sold this summer if they hadn't been injured or there had been good offers coming in. Fred, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, De Gea, the next lot of players to be shifted. Obviously, Ronaldo's contract expires and Martial's injury ain't good, says Ranbir. Well, I can tell you for a fact straight away that that's not going to be the case, Ranbir. I don't think that will be the case at all. I don't think that you can put Wan-Bissaka in with Fred and Lindelof because Wan-Bissaka was a player that Ten Hag wanted to sell. You can't put De Gea in there because a decision will be made on De Gea next summer, but he's a first teamer this season. And Ronaldo, I mean, I'm sure I read something today about Ronaldo that he hasn't actually withdrawn his desire to leave Manchester United. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I think Lindelof and Fred certainly do fall into that category of, what's their future going to be at United? You can't rule out the fact that in a month's time we might be playing with Lindelof at centre-back and Fred in the midfield. I mean, they've both, at times, been players that I've said... I mean, certainly Fred in the last few months of last season and Lindelof at times last season as well. I was like, they deserve to be first-teamers, but different manager, different squad now. It's difficult to see how they get back into the team, and I'd love to say they can both get back into the team because they're good enough. I don't... Let me be honest. I don't think they're good enough to get into the first team. And the way they get in the first team, I don't want to go down that road because them to get back in the first team means we're going to have to lose players for injury, which I don't want to happen. So ultimately, are they going to be happy being squad players? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, by the way. Right, I'm going to show you this clip. People have been asking for it. So obviously at the weekend, you might have heard, I managed the YouTube All-Stars against Sidemen, and there was a lot of clips at the weekend that came out, but we did have cameras in the dressing room. And I asked Nico if I asked about today, did anybody have the clip of my speech? Because I remember it was completely off the cuff, and I remember mentioning the Gladiator. Fortunately, he had that, but he also sent me another clip, which I'd completely forgotten, and this is genuinely true. Basically, Nico said to Speed that I used to manage Man United. And I only came into the conversation a little bit after, but he's either a brilliant actor or he genuinely believed it. So, a little bit of a treat for you. Let's just play you this.
And if we need any tactics, hit up that man right there.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
You know, he's a manager. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why you tell me that? You managed Man United. Very briefly. Treble.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, we're going crazy. We have a
First time to try it out.
Really?
Yeah. It was crazy. Really? Crazy moment.
So you met Ronaldo?
Digitally. Eventually. I'm just telling you about the travel on my feet last year.
He used to be the manager for Man United. I know. It's fucking sick, bro. We're going crazy, bro. And if we need any tactics.
There it is. So, I mean, look, I've seen it's been put on TikTok with the audio, but basically, he asked me if I had managed Man United, and I was even telling him it was on FIFA and digitally, but he was still going along with it. So, look, what a lovely lad. What a lovely lad. What a lovely dressing room. And to be honest with you, that's probably one of my favourite clips of the whole thing because I'd forgotten about it. It was such an eventful day on Saturday with so much stuff going on. I'd forgotten about that, and then I got sent the clip about it today, and I was like, yeah, that needs to go out there because it was so funny. And it reminded me of so many dressing rooms I've been part of over my whole life, even like when I was playing when I was a teenager, like the banter you get in there. One of the funniest things we ever did, I used to play for this really good Sunday team, and we were playing top of the league at home, and somebody had this idea to bring a radio in. And the dressing rooms were quite close. They were in these porta cabins with walls that were so thin it was like toilet paper. So you could hear what was going on. So we put this radio on, and somebody put on The Final Countdown by John Bon Jovi. So we put it on really loud, and it was meant to like get us really up for it. Anyway, we were 3-0 down going into the last minute, and the opposition had a corner. And fair play, their centre-back went, "Hey lads, it's the final countdown," which started our goal. Yeah, it all kicked off. But yeah, dressing room banter is always a bit of fun, and I'm sure you've all been part of it as well. But yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good. And I thought I'd just share it with you, just because some of you aren't on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, are you? I always forget that. I always think if something goes on Twitter, everybody sees it. But over the years, many of you told me that, you know, some of you only on YouTube as well. It wasn't Bon Jovi, it was Europe, says C said. You're right, it was. Sean Burke, thank you very much for your super chat there. Sarvesh says, until we get centre-back, if Varane or Martinez are not available, would you rather play Malacia at centre-back, Shaw right-back, or would you play Maguire centre-back, Malacia right-back? If Varane or Martinez are not available, would you rather play Malacia or Shaw? Would you play right back? Tell you what, Sarvesh, I'm going to tell you something now. If Martinez got injured, I would rather play Luke Shaw left-sided centre-back than Harry Maguire. Yeah. And I think Luke Shaw could do it because he's reasonably tall. I think he's about 6 foot, Luke Shaw. He's mobile and he's very left-footed. So I would rather, if Martinez goes, we do play somebody who's left-footed there. Because if he doesn't do that, you go back to a right-footed player. I mean, look, Maguire's played left-sided centre-back for most of his career at United. He'd probably play there for England tonight. But when I think about Man United and I think about the way that we play now, we need to get to a point where if a player needs to be rested or is injured, you replace them with somebody who is close to them, not miles away. So I've said it before, if Van Dijk gets injured or Matip gets injured, you've got Gomez or Konate. They're not the same, but there are similarities in pace and etc. If Martinez gets injured for Man United, you go from a left-footed, mobile, technically gifted centre-back to a not mobile, right-footed, tall centre-back. It's completely contrast. So I actually think there is some intelligence in that. If Martinez did get injured, what's Martinez? 5'10", left-footed, mobile centre-back. Well, Malacia and Luke Shaw are both mobile centre-back, left-backs, aren't they? And they're left-footed. So actually, I probably wouldn't mind trying that, but we wouldn't do it. We'd probably go to Maguire. But that's the next stage for Ten Hag as well, is to get to a point where if Eriksen's injured, you've got someone similar to Eriksen. If Varane is injured, you've got someone similar to Varane or Martinez and Dalot. And, you know, we've got holes in our first team at the moment. The next stage is to be in a situation where you lose a player and you bring in a player that has similar traits. Has Alenga's premature call-up to the first team ruined his overall development, to Stephen? I think to a certain extent it has. I like Alanga, but he should be in the Championship on loan, like people like Mason Mount and James Garner did. I think he has been over-promoted because we don't have enough options up front. It still could work out for him. He's got a good coach with him now, but it could still work out for him. On speed, Mark, from what I can see, he seems genuinely a top lad. Also, big up, Mark. Nice to see you getting your flowers recently from fellow YouTubers, says Jason. Thank you. Yeah, look, I mean, we only spent a day together, and we sat together on the bus and stuff, but he does seem like a really nice lad, and I wish him all the best. But yeah, I do think that we've got to get to that point where we can bring players in. Because talking about that game at the weekend, I mean, it's a bloody amateur game, but it's harder to manage at the top level because you're managing against top managers and top level players, but it's also easier in one way because you've got top level players. At the weekend, when we had one centre-back, and when Harry Pinero came off because he was tired, we've got no centre-backs. Nobody can play that role, so you ultimately become very weak straight away. Football's a simple game. If you're playing with Martinez at centre-back, you want somebody, if he comes off, to come in and do the job he does. And at the moment, if Eriksen comes out the team, no one can do that. We saw that against Sociedad. If Martinez comes out the team, no one can do that. You want players who can do that. They won't be as good, but somebody who can do that. At the moment, there's too many holes in our team where if you lose Varane, there's no one anywhere near who's got his attributes. Martinez, no one's got his attributes. No one's got Eriksen's attributes. No one's got Ronaldo's attributes in the air. So we need to get a balanced squad. But you can't do that when you're taking over one of the worst Premier League Man United sides we've ever seen. That's going to have to happen over the next couple of years, but that will surely be the next stage. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, it's certainly very exciting to see how it's going to develop. And the biggest excitement is going to be just, you know, Man City are there, aren't they? We know Man City are there. And I think on our day, we're capable. We are capable. But we'll have to wait and see how it develops. I'm going to be on That's Football in literally 10 minutes because the game kicks off in 10 minutes. I'm going to be analysing that game in a very tactical point of view because I've had enough of Southgate and his shit football. So he's playing a back five. It's going to be a very interesting stream. Just type in That's Football. The live chat's already open and I'll see you there in a minute or two. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. It's been an interesting show. And yeah, I'm getting very excited about... I'm looking forward to this England game tonight because I'm pumped up. You know, I've got manager bridges still fresh from the weekend. So I'm very, very pumped up for that. But also pumped up for the return of the Premier League. So be interested to see how Maguire and Shaw do tonight. Speak to you all in a bit. See you on That's Football in a couple of minutes. And don't forget, Boohoo Man. I'm wearing one of their hoodies, Boohoo Man Active, 40% off. Scan the QR code or go through the link in the description. You'll find something that you like, 40% off with the code. Big shout out to Boohoo Man as ever.